Welcome to Reframe, the podcast where we're redefining what's possible, one mindset shift at a time. I'm Jess, your guide on this journey to help you to rewrite your story and transform from the inside out. Let's dive into how small changes in the way you think can lead to big changes in the way you live. We are back with part 2 of the 4-part Health Wheel series, which is where I'm sharing small shifts that you can make in 4 different areas of your health to make a big impact. So the 4 areas that I'm diving into are financial health, emotional health, physical health, and relational health. So in last week's episode, I dove into financial health, and today we're focusing on physical health. So this is about small shifts that you can make for a big impact in your physical health. And of course, your physical health has a knock-on effect on your emotional health, your financial health, and your relational health. So these are all things that I've personally done or I am doing. They may not all apply to you. These will be so personal and determined by not only your personal goals, but also your current health. So some of you may already be doing some of these, or you may not want to or need to do all of these or any of these. So number 1 is to get to know your current physical health. This has been huge for me, and you may see a pattern here because the first one for financial health was also to get an overview of where you're currently at financially. And those of you who know my ARA process will know that the first step is awareness. Awareness really is key. So you want to know where you're starting from. It's great to see supplements and exercises advertised online or recommended to you and to start them, but do you need them? Are they what's right for you? It can feel like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, and I've absolutely fallen into that trap of trying everything in the hope that something works. And it's not only been costly but frustrating as well because a lot of it hasn't made a difference. So for me, this process meant writing how I currently feel. So my symptoms, any challenges that I have with my health, and then writing how I want to feel. So if you want to do this as a journaling exercise, something really simple like how I physically feel is, well, this is how I physically feel. The symptoms I'm currently experiencing are. The challenges I have with my health are. And you could mentally kind of go through your day. So start from when you wake up. Do you wake up with aches and pains? Do you wake up really fatigued, really anxious? Waking up feeling anxious was something that I suffered with for years. And I tried so many things. And some things would work for a little bit, and then they would stop working. And when we get into step 2, this will kind of make sense more why you don't want to just be trying loads of different things. But going through that kind of mental run through of your day, how are you feeling at breakfast time? How are you feeling mid-morning, at lunchtime, mid-afternoon, when you're at work, when you're exercising, at bedtime, and different kind of activities you do when you're eating, when you're working, when you're exercising, when you're with people, when you're on your own. And really looking at the symptoms and the challenges there. And then for the how you want to feel part of it, you could simply journal something like, physically, I want to feel. Or what feels even more empowering, physically, I'm ready to feel. There's something just a little bit higher energy about going from I want to I'm ready to. Because it almost gives you that, like, yes, it's achievable. I'm capable of it, I'm worthy of it, I'm ready for it, I just need to figure out how. And then moving on to step number 2, rather than going straight to fixing the problem, I started looking for the cause. So I'd be like, oh, I'm tired, I'll take XYZ supplements. I'm not seeing muscle gains, so I'll try XYZ exercise. And that's great, especially if it does fix it, but so many times it hasn't fixed it for me, which is why I've shifted my approach to looking at the why. Why was I feeling tired? Why wasn't I sleeping well? Why was I getting migraines, brain fog, anxiety? So this was a little bit of a costly journey. If you're in the UK, it's worth seeing your doctor to see if you can do this on the NHS. I went privately because I wanted to go a bit more in depth. But I had my bloods taken to see what my levels were, what I was deficient in, and it has been so eye-opening. Firstly, because my mind was put at ease in so many areas. I also learned that I don't need to be taking as much as I have been, supplements-wise, so that's going to save me some money. And I've also been given a blueprint, a personalised blueprint for me. And I've been given simple shifts to make to improve my health. And it's a mixture of nutrition, movement, and mindfulness. I did this through Well Nourished Club. I'll leave a link in the show notes. It's just been so eye-opening, and it's something that I've wanted to do for so long, and I'm so glad that I just took the leap and did it. I don't believe in regret, but there was that part of me that was like, why didn't I just do this sooner? I also invested in a Whoop band this year, which is showing me more in-depth stats on my sleep, things like my heart rate, my stress levels, and it helps me to track and understand the more direct correlation between my movement, my stress levels, my sleep, etc., and my body's responses. I actually have a link for that where you can get a free month, your free first month. So I'll put that in the show notes. But I am obsessed. Knowing how much REM sleep and slow wave sleep I'm getting, seeing how much my strain each day is impacting the required amount of recovery that I need the next day, is fascinating. And I'm tailoring my bedtime routine and my exercise routines to it. Again, not throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. It's simple things like I always wake up at the same time, and I had a good bedtime routine, no screens, no caffeine, etc. But my going to sleep time varied. So when I saw that my REM sleep was lower than the required amount, one of the suggestions was to make sure that you have a sleep schedule going to bed at the same time. And as soon as I made that more consistent, my REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement, and it's where so much of our restoration comes from, so it's key for processing new memories, new learnings, and motor skills, they all, like that REM sleep increased to optimum levels just from changing that simple thing of going to bed at the same time each night. And as a result, I'm waking up calmer, which, as I mentioned before, for years I was waking up with anxiety. I'd find the odd thing that would work and then it wouldn't work anymore. And this, like, it's just been such a powerful process to see, okay, this is what is going on in my body. This is a change that I can make specific to what is going on in my body. And this is the result of it. Like, I can feel the results, which has just been amazing. Another thing that you could look into is like intolerance or allergy testing to see if you're currently exposing yourself to or eating something that isn't working for your body. So rather than working on looking for solutions to the challenge that you're having, looking to actually like prevent it by avoiding those things, not having them anymore. So really getting an idea of, one, how you're currently feeling, two, why that might be. And you'll get tailored support based on that number two for sure, whether it's, you know, having your bloods done, using something like a Whoop band, having the allergy intolerance tests and things like that. You'll then get tailored specific support for you. So those are two really, really key things. And then here are some other things that I'm trying to shift in my life to really have that optimum physical health. So number 3, Whole foods as much as possible, cutting out processed food. We actually really enjoy cooking as a family. My boys love cooking, which is wonderful. So making our own sauces and snacks, and really just trying to eat good quality meats and organic fruit and vegetables, and just making as much as we can from scratch. Especially having a child with ADHD, this has been really, really important for me. Number 4, cutting out toxins in the home. So things like in your beauty products and cleaning products. Now this can be a really big one to do in one go. So I'd start with things as they run out. That's a great way to do it. As your toothpaste runs out, replace that. As your shampoo runs out, replace that. Or working on one area at a time. So maybe start with your makeup, then do your skincare, then do your hair care, then your fragrances, then your laundry, then your cleaning sprays. I personally wouldn't actually do it in that order. I'd start with what you use most. So for me, that would be skincare. I wear makeup once a week, if that. I'd probably say once a month, if that. But skincare, every morning and every evening. So start with that. And laundry for me. Those are probably the 2 biggest things that I use most. Or you could start with the things that are like only one item to replace, but it would cover a whole area. So for example, replacing your toothpaste, and you've pretty much ticked off oral health. So you get that satisfaction of being like, that's a whole area done, rather than maybe if you've replaced your shampoo, but you've still got your conditioner or your hair scrub or something like that. Or with your makeup, you've replaced your mascara, but you've still got like 10 other items that you haven't replaced yet. Or it could be your deodorant, and then you've ticked off your scents. Unless you wear perfume. I personally don't wear perfume anymore. I use essential oils, but I feel like that's for another episode. Number 5, daily fresh air. This one has been quite easy because I have a dog to walk every day, but I still try and stand outside every morning with a cuppa. Even this morning when it was stormy, it was very windy and rainy, and I was just stood there with my matcha. It just feels so wonderful to connect with nature first thing. At the moment it's winter and I get up quite early, so I'm not getting that sun exposure, but it wakes me up. It feels so calming, and rather than staring at a screen or like the first noises I hear being social media, it's birds, and I feel wind on my face, and it's just lush. If you work in an office and getting time outside is difficult, then even simple, because again, it's all about those 1% shifts, things like as you're walking back to your car when you leave the office, or once you've taken your kids to school and you're going back to the car, just trying to take a slightly slower walk. If you haven't got to rush, if you're not in a hurry, taking slightly longer and just really hearing nature, feeling nature, taking some deep breaths, really trying to absorb yourself in nature to get that fresh air. Number 6, daily movement. So I used to be really hard on myself if I didn't get a gym workout in every day. But not only is it not realistic for my schedule, but it's also not needed some days. And I now know this from wearing my Whoop band. I need more recovery focused activities like stretching or like yoga or like walking. And I know it might be obvious. You know, someone could have said to me, Jess, you don't need to be in the gym lifting weights every day, like do some yoga. But when I actually see the stats from my body telling me today is a day that you should do more restorative things, for me, with how my brain works, I'm more likely to listen to that than someone else telling me. So I walk my dog daily, and then I do a mixture of gym, using my walking pad, yoga and classes, but just some kind of movement. And I feel like it not only shifts my health physically in so many ways, because I'm covering like strength training, stretching, cardiovascular, etc., which is improving my heart rate variable. You know, it's physically giving me that positive shift, but also it's improving my self expectations and my relationship with my body. I'm listening to my body more and becoming more intuitive. So that's been a really powerful shift for me, rather than setting this expectation of going to the gym 7 days a week, and if I don't, I'm a failure. just some kind of movement. And one day that's walking the dog, another day it's walking the dog in the gym. I mean, every day it's walking the dog. But yeah, one day it might just be some stretching and my walk. And that's amazing. Number 7, hydration. It sounds so boring and obvious, but honestly, drinking more water, I feel like I notice in my body. I don't even need stats to tell me this. Like, I notice in my body when I'm dehydrated. I get brain fog, I get tired, I get grumpy. And so often I can check in with myself and say, okay, hang on a minute. Why am I feeling like this? I haven't had anything to drink yet. And I have some water and it's like I feel the clarity just not only in my mind but in my body. It's like it's cleansing my cells. I actually got a water filter. It's the water, I think it's called Water to Go. It might not be Water to Go. It's something like that, but it just fits under my sink because the UK tap water, or at least in the south, is not great. And as someone that's cutting out toxins in all of my beauty and cleaning products and trying to have whole foods, it felt counterintuitive to then drink the tap water that I was getting. So I have that and I notice such a difference, not only in the taste, but I just feel more energetic. So I aim for 2 bottles of water a day, and I also drink peppermint tea, so I always count that as well. And again, it's such a small shift just to add in, you know, it might be that you just add in an extra cup of water each day. You don't have to suddenly go to like 2 litres. I know that is the recommended amount, but sometimes it can feel like a big leap. So starting small, just like from the 1% effect episode, just adding in a bit more. Number 8, prioritising good quality sleep. My Whoop band has been life-changing for this, but knowing how many hours I personally need, not as a human, not as a woman, but me, with my age, my height, my weight, my activity levels that day, my stress levels that day, the time of my cycle, depending on what I want from the next day. Like, do I want to feel fully charged or do I just want to survive? To know that and aim, like to know how much sleep I need, depending on all of those factors, and to aim for that and to achieve that has been amazing. I might even do sleep as a whole separate podcast episode, or maybe like a morning and evening routine one. If you'd be interested, let me know, because I have a few things that I implement and my sleep routine is now working so well for me. And it may not be right for everyone, which is why it's so important to get to know your sleep needs, your sleep goals, and to have that as a starting point for where you're at with your sleep now and where you want to be with it. Number 9, and I'm going to pretend that it doesn't bother me that this is the last one and there's no number 10, but focusing on regulating my nervous system. So I definitely have struggled with a dysregulated nervous system, be it my ADHD, being a mum, being an SEN mum, a single mum, an accumulation of all of it. But my nervous system has been very dysregulated over time. So I try to implement grounding and somatic practices daily, all very small. And they're actually all things that I teach in Heal to Reveal, because a huge part of shifting your belief system is nervous system regulation. It's not just shifting those internal thoughts, because you can tell yourself that you're going to think a different thought, but when you are faced with a scenario that would once trigger you, your nervous system, all kind of preconceived ideas of how you're going to respond differently and new thoughts and new beliefs that you're trying to create can really go out of the window. So it's really about soothing your nervous system into, easing you to step out of your comfort zone and using those nervous system regulation support tools to do that. And that works hand in hand with the belief work. So the things that I do are things like breath work, shaking, tapping, body slapping. If you're listening to this thinking, what is she talking about? Jump in Heal to Reveal. It sounds weird, body slapping, but I promise you it is so grounding, so releasing, so invigorating. It helps you to shift your energy and to move those limiting beliefs through your body to help release them. It's just amazing. Also grounding barefoot. So I don't go outside barefoot as much at the moment in the winter because my feet just feel too cold. But especially spring into summer and autumn, when I have my matcha outside, I'll also be barefoot and it just feels wonderful. I also have a grounding bed sheet on its way, which I'm so excited to try. And journaling, of course, journaling is such a wonderful tool for helping to regulate your nervous system. So those are the small shifts that I'm making to improve my health that you may want to try. I won't get them right every day. I'm not strict with them because what I found is that strictness for me really intensifies that shame around perceived failure, not actual failure, but perceived, which all goes hand in hand with limiting beliefs. So having a real 1% mindset here is key, knowing that they won't all work immediately, if at all, but they'll accumulate, not only each individual shift, but together as well. And that's where you'll have that big impact on your physical health. So I hope you've loved this episode. I'd love to know the simple 1% shifts that you're making in your physical health and how it's going for you so far. As always, please do give this I was going to say thumbs up. We don't do thumbs up on podcasts. A 5-star rating if you loved it. Send me a message with any takeaways. I'm loving receiving all of your messages so far, so please do keep them coming. And of course, if you're listening to this right now, which you obviously will be if you're hearing these words, take a screenshot and post it to your social media, tagging me so that I can personally thank you and reply, and I can reshare it as well. But yeah, thank you for listening, and until the next episode.